Welcome to Architrave Gaming. I'm the Archmaster. This video is about setting opportunities and not adventure paths or campaign. Here's what that means. When a GM is pitching, when you as the GM are pitching your next adventure idea to your players, you say, all right, so in this adventure, it's going to be a military adventure or a military campaign. And you're going to start out as lowly footmen, and then you can do cool things and get promoted. You can rise in the ranks and get command of more and more men, and then you can maybe turn on your superior officers and take over, or you can rise through the ranks and take over naturally because you're the general now, or you get promoted to king or president or whatnot. Because a lot of generals historically became emperors and kings and whatnot. Or you could, turncoat and go to the other side, and here's the adventure that I've planned out for you. Here's what is available. A lot of people might look at that and say, "Oh wow, that's a pretty cool adventure. It's a linear adventure, but there's no railroading at all. They have total freedom of choice to do what they want." But I'm here to tell you a better way. The way that actually works in the Arch game. The only way that's tolerated in the Arch game. Instead of having any sort of linear adventure path, which is a railroad, that's literally what a path is. You instead tell them these are the opportunities that this setting provides. Remember, in the Arch game, the Arch method, you as the GM are not presenting adventures, you are presenting a setting. So, here's what that would look like. You say, hey, this is a very militaristic setting. There are these two sides in the war, and they each have officers and ranks and whatnot, and people rise and fall in ranks all the time, and people are constantly, rising to greatness, and others are falling from grace and being disgraced and whatnot, and lots of turncoats and traitors and whatnot, and we know that the current king rose up from the ranks. He was once a general and once a colonel, etc., all the way down, there are these two sides, and then there are mercenaries, and they're looting bodies, and there's all this treasure that both sides are trying to get, etc., right? You simply tell them, here's what the setting is like. It has armies, has militaries, it has ranks, it has kings, it has treasure, etc. And then they get to play their characters and decide what they want. They can choose to join one side of the army, or join the other, or join neither, or backstab, or be a mercenary group, etc. That maintains player agency. If you say, all right, you are military men and you get to rise through the ranks and this is what we're going to do, you're pre-planning everything. That's a railroad. This is what has to be done. This is what we're doing, right? The better way is to simply present these are the opportunities that the setting provides. This setting has all of these things in it. There's rumors of a flame tongue on a mountain and a dragon over there in the north, and undead, a mile beneath our feet, below the deepest dungeon. Well, the players may look at all that and be like, this is way more interesting than the war that's going on. Or maybe I can get the dragon to join the war on our side, or maybe we can cow both sides and make them cower before us because we have a dragon, or maybe I can kill the dragon and both sides will, really like me, etc. Or maybe I want to take the undead army. Are there any liches nearby? Maybe I can get a lich to raise the undead army. That could be a third army. Or maybe I can have both sides fight against each other, and they can have a whole bunch of, dead bodies, and then I'll get the lich to raise the army. What if I become a lich and do it myself? There we go. Ambition, player objectives, proactive players, all of that stuff. You don't just tell them, here's what we're going to do. Here's the path laid out for you. Here's the campaign. I invented a campaign for you to play. No, the campaign is emergent. The adventure is emergent. Everything that happens because the players decided it would happen. You just give them the setting, right? So that's a quicker one. Give them setting opportunities. Tell them the opportunities that the setting provides, rather than tell them, hey, here's the adventure that I have, here's the campaign I have in mind. You preserve player agency, and this is perfect for actual proactive players that actually care about the hobby and actually want to do things. It's perfect for them, and all you have to do is make a really, really unique, interesting setting. And if that seems like the hardest part to you, then you can stick around, because this channel, very soon, hopefully, is going to turn into not just showing you how to make your own setting, but actually providing you my setting and say, hey, here's one of my very, very many settings. Because the setting itself is a certain time in a region, right? So, I've trillions of settings. Anyway, I'll be actually showing y'all, here's a setting, here's my setting, and hopefully available on Patreon or something, with actual maps and NPCs and all that stuff, but we'll see. Anyway, I'll be able to present you my setting and say, here's, at least, if nothing else, here is a good template for how a setting ought to be. This is what I'm talking about when I say you have to make a really, really, really good setting that's totally pre-planned, or not pre-planned, pre-fleshed out, pre-made. So we know where all the treasure is, we know where all the monsters are, we know where all the NPCs are, and their motivations and their goals, etc. Dozens and dozens of important figures, all the towns, all the maps, etc. That is what you as the GM have got to do. You either got to build it yourself or get it from someone else like me who knows how to build a good setting. And that is your job. It's you take a setting, you run the setting, and you tell the players, hey, here's the setting I'm presenting. No more, here's the adventure. Which adventure do you want to play? What adventure module do you want to buy? No more modules, no more paths. It's all, which setting do you want to play in? Which setting do you want to be your sandbox and you get to do whatever you want in it? But, as a little addendum on the end, some of you may be saying, well, I really like adventure paths. I really want to have something that's already interesting, that's already cool. I want to do Curse of Strahd and have all these cool story beats, right? Well, why can't I just have that? Is that really so wrong? Well, of course it's not wrong. It's not a moral failing. It's not the best the hobby has to offer, but it's not wrong. So we actually have a concession. We actually have something built into our setting that you can have in your own setting. You can apply this yourself that actually allows the pre-made story, story beats and all that stuff where you get to use your writer's brain and you get to come up with all the story beats and whatnot. And it's something, again, diegetic, immersive, that actually fits the world. It's prophecies. You can say, oh yes, here's my setting with the 2 different sides of the war and the dragon up there and the undead underground and all these different things, and you can do whatever you want. But there is this prophecy that a man or a group, a party, etc., will join this one side of the war and help them beat the other, or maybe they will join one of the 2 sides, right? You can leave it open. It's up to you how stringent you want to be with the railroad, the adventure path. But you say, there's this prophecy where this party will join one side of the war, and they will end the war, and then they will kill this terrible dragon up north, and then only in 1 month later, the undead will rise, and they must defeat an evil lich. And then you can tell them, hey, here's the adventure path I have for you, right? The party will go to the Dread Realms, and they will meet a great vampire, and they will have to take these 7 sun-hallowed weapons and kill the vampire with it, right? Curse of Strahd. You can have your prophecy, and the players can look at that, and again, player agency, their own option. They can say, wow, we want a linear adventure. We want a cool adventure path that's already laid out. We want to know that we're going to have a cool experience and that cool things are going to happen. We don't actually want all that burden on us, which I think they should embrace having that burden. Like, your muscles don't get bigger unless you carry heavy weights. You really should be carrying heavy weights. Anyway, if they say, hey, we're lazy, we don't want to carry heavy weights, we don't want to actually bear the burden of making sure the campaign is fun on our own, we just want it done for us. Yeah, okay, well, I don't think it's a great idea, but everyone needs a rest day, right? So that's fine. I'll provide for that. You just have a prophecy. They can look at that and say, hey, we just want to follow this prophecy. We want to be led by the hand. We want to make these cool things happen because we come to D&D to relax, right? We don't want to have to put in all the effort, etc. Again, I think it's better to put in the effort. A lot more enjoyable, more rewarding on all sides, but if you don't want the effort, prophecy. Anyway, that is my insight for you today. Thank you for liking and subscribing and feeding the algorithm and all that stuff. Y'all have a good day. God bless.